Welcome to the UpBeet Gardener. I'm Marion Owen. Before we get started today, let me ask you something, and you don't have to answer it right away. When we talk about healthcare, most of us think about doctors' offices, insurance forms, and rising costs. It's heavy, and it's personal. But what if part of the conversation belongs somewhere else? What if one of the most powerful tools for better health was already growing right outside your door? Not a pill, not a prescription, not another complicated health plan. Just soil, seeds, and a little patience. Let me start with a personal story. Right by my kitchen sink, taped to a cupboard door where I can't miss it, is a small handwritten postcard. I've had it there for about 10 years. I received it after buying the book How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. The card is pretty simple. There's a small photo of him in the right-hand corner, and the rest is filled with just a few words, handwritten in green Sharpie pen. You are what you eat. So please eat healthy. I see that card every single day while making coffee, scrubbing potatoes, cooking dinner, and washing dishes. And the older I get, the more those words feel less like advice and more like life-giving wisdom. Because eating healthy isn't just about living longer. It's about how healthy we are and how we feel as we age. Yes, we're living longer, but less healthy. Many of us are spending more of those years dealing with chronic illness. More meds, more fatigue, more doctor visits. And that brings us to food. When you walk through a grocery store, you feel it twice. First in your wallet, and later in your body. According to a National Public Radio report from September 2025, food prices are up about 29% since February of 2020, based on data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Families are stretching meals further, making harder choices, and leaning more heavily on foods that are cheaper, faster, and easier. Which brings us to ultra-processed foods. And this didn't happen overnight. Over the past 100 years, the standard American diet, often called the SAD diet, has quietly shifted into something far more processed than most of us realize. It started with Coca-Cola in the late 1800s and Oreo cookies in the early 1900s. At first, these were occasional treats. Do you remember? But in the 1980s, ultra-processed foods became widespread. Convenience foods moved to the center of our plates and the center of grocery store shelves. And factory-made food slowly became the norm. Today, about 55 to 60% of the calories Americans consume come from ultra-processed foods. For children, it's even higher. Some estimates place the number closer to 70%. That combination, higher food prices and heavier reliance on ultra-processed foods, has consequences. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from today's program, let it be this. Not all consequences, or should I say health problems, show up right away. Ultra-processed foods aren't just chips, soft drinks, and candy. They're foods designed in factories, folks, not home kitchens. Foods made with ingredients that most of us wouldn't cook with at home, like added flavors, colors, emulsifiers, preservatives, and sweeteners. They're usually ready to eat or heat, heavily marketed, carefully engineered to taste just right. So we keep reaching for more. And then, before we even realize it, we're not just eating them, we're dependent on them. Or we think we are, but that's another topic. Most of our biggest health problems are slow-moving. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, joint pain, chronic fatigue. They build quietly, snack by snack, meal by meal, year by year. Today, close to 80% of all chronic diseases are linked to diet and lifestyle. At the same time, the United States spends over $3.5 trillion a year on healthcare. So let me ask you a different question. What if staying healthy mattered more than treating illness? I mean, there was a time when doctors were paid to keep people well. In ancient China, for example, physicians were paid a retainer as long as their patients stayed healthy. If someone got sick, the doctor wasn't paid again until that person recovered. Imagine that. And doesn't it make sense that one of the most effective ways to keep health care costs down is to stay healthier in the first place? Research from Harvard University shows that a healthy, plant-based diet, along with a few other lifestyle changes, can add 12 to 14 years to a person's life. Amazing, isn't it? So this is where gardening comes in. Growing even a small amount of your own food, parsley on a windowsill, salad greens in a container on the deck, potatoes in a tote, tomatoes in a greenhouse, naturally nudges you away from ultra-processed food and toward real food. Think about it. Homegrown food is minimally processed by default. It's not a science project. It's free of industrial additives and naturally rich in fiber. And it's far less vulnerable to sudden price hikes or supply chain disruptions. Now, here in Kodiak, Alaska, it's not unusual to walk into a grocery store and find shelves empty. Produce, meat, dairy, even eggs. Bad weather often keeps container ships from docking, and deliveries get skipped. Now, over the years, I've noticed something else. Gardeners tend to cook more, waste less food, and rely less on ultra-processed food, simply because the food is right there. And gardening gives us something else that doesn't show up neatly on a medical bill. It helps our mental health. Time in the garden slows the nervous system. It lowers stress. Studies show it improves our mood and reduces anxiety and depression. One more thing. Gardening offers gentle movement and stretching for your body, plus fresh air, sunlight, bird sounds, those simple gifts of nature. So put your phone down. Let quiet moments come back to you. In a world that feels loud and fast and overwhelming and expensive, the garden offers calm and peace. The simple act of pulling a carrot gives you a little more control over your life. So give it a try and see for yourself. And that brings me back to the little postcard by my sink. You are what you eat, so please eat healthy. It doesn't shout, it doesn't nag me. It's my quiet cheerleader, reminding me every day that small choices add up. Gardening doesn't just change what we eat, it changes how we feel. tending a garden nudges us away from ultra-processed food and back toward real food, right? And at a time where both food and healthcare cost more every year, that feels like a very good place to start. Thanks for listening. For the Upbeat Gardener, I'm Marion Owen.